All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Weston Joslin, and today we're discussing the importance of a strong digital web presence. So what does a digital developer do? What is my role here? I like to think of myself as your wizard behind the curtain. I allow clean air to manage your development needs in-house for better consistency on testing and updating your site. SEO-focused content writing and improving overall business visibility, things like that. This is crucial to maintaining site-wide security, stability, and speed for our end customers. These sensitive areas of our business are required for more time and information systems. They require more time and information systems experience than most small business owners have. So in that regard, we wouldn't want this to be outsourced or anything like that, because it makes security as far as our sites more susceptible. The sorts of things, those relationships with other companies may be changing hands. So we would like to keep this in-house and centralized when it comes to all your SEO and marketing needs, and I'm here to help do that. Over the last 10 years, I've worked in many areas of graphic and web design, and most recently, my previous position focused on insightful content marketing as well as SEO descriptive product writing. So let's jump into how we manage your launch strategy as a new clean air location owner, as many of you may be. Our overview today is we're going to start talking about the new site setups and what we do for you, maintaining the back end, SERP stacking, and more about what that is, the local search environment, and mobile optimization, as well as your website content and getting out there in the social media space. So here we can see a typical website from a clean air lawn care owner. If we're talking about any business owner starting their website, there are many hurdles that you must go through in the life of your company to get onto the digital space. As a clean air owner, you benefit from the methods and structure developed through our existing business model. So why do we do this for you? Why do we handle your website setup instead of letting you do it yourself? Well, for one, it saves you a huge amount of time and frustration learning to get your website online. When beginning, you would need to find your domain name, you purchase hosting, and you configure your server. You build the website, or you hire a designer of your own, and then you have to write all the content with attractive images, and then make sure that after all you've done that work, all the work you've done, it's web compliant. It's up to the expectations of what Google and even Bing are expecting to see as far as a website made in the modern day. So once your website is built, only then do you begin the task of building a good reputation and getting your information submitted to quality search directories. We'll talk about that more in a bit later. In addition to the local clean air lawn care website, you might wonder, how far does the central team support your online presence? From here, I'd like to pause and pull back the curtain a bit, get a little technical for a moment. Humorously, I like to think of myself as kind of your Scotty. You know, I always try to give you more power, do more from the back end to make sure that you're getting seen by more people, and eventually, you know, that's all leading towards getting more inquiries. So to do this, we're focusing on the server side stuff, for instance. A big part of my role here is making sure everything works and runs well. This has to do with security and speed that the customers expect for your website. So starting off with the website platform version, that helps maintain security and compatibility, and integrating with the latest technology we may want to feature on the website. When it comes to PHP, this is your server language. It's a security. It helps. You want to keep this up to date because it helps play into security, compatibility, and most importantly, speed. Data compression is something we do server side. That makes sure that speed is always a priority, because the pages and content we're sending a user as they access your website is compressed so that there's no unnecessary data flowing through. along those lines, also page caching improves the speed of your page to the user. So why should you care about the back-end stuff and things being fast and secure? Is that Google gives a whole lot of page rank importance to speed. So we always want to make sure our technology is up to snuff with the latest and greatest. And those are the kinds of things that are really difficult for somebody who doesn't work in the digital space, doesn't have those years of discipline and experience to be able to maintain on their own. So what we wanted to get into now and talk about is your SERP stacking. That's basically your search engine rank page. When somebody searches for your company, it's what somebody sees, all the little listings that pop up. So as soon as your website goes online, we get to work on our side by making sure that you show up when someone is looking for your services. Your online footprint is everything today. It is the passport in which prospects become loyal customers. We are here to make sure that you begin displaying in local search results as soon as possible by configuring your search profile across all the high-level value sites customers are using. This is huge for making sure that your searchability is contained to what Google sees by crawling your page's HTML code. We submit your local owner site to the high-value search directories in addition to the usuals like Google and Facebook. There are many, many sites out there with high value, good page rank, those good reputations that Google uses to help be informed about really the relevance of your website and if it's good to send traffic from these pages to your website. These are sites like Superpages, City Search, YellowPages.com, InfoGroup, Axiom, to name a few. And they help share that reputation with Google. This is a crucial step in a new owner site, building strong backlinks that are going to help you get that page rank you want to show up in search results. It's really important, this is something we like to handle because it's important that your efforts don't become a hindrance. You want accuracy, consistency, and fully populated information in regard to your business information. This is commonly referred to as your NAP, your NAP, your name, address, phone for starts. This information should be formatted really consistently. Like some people like to use hyphens for phone numbers, some people like to use periods. It's good just to pick one, and usually keeping with the Clean Air standard is what we would recommend because we want everything as far as the brand to show up consistently. If you happen to hire somebody on your own through a business that is doing this kind of ad hoc based on what they feel at the time or their mood, not keeping track of consistency, then when Google indexes things and directs user traffic, it has a lot of trouble figuring out what is the correct information to provide. So this gives you kind of a view all in one of all the different relationships of these sites that we submit to and how they inform one another and help eventually drive traffic back to you. This plays heavily into the local search aspect of things. So here in this slide we can see that, for instance, for lawn care in Seattle, we are in the top 2 of 3 results, and out of the top 10 we have another listing on there. So we have a great amount of dominance for the first page results, whether it's through Yelp, reviews, or our own business pages. So why do we go through the trouble of creating and maintaining all these owner sites in these individual locations instead of just adding in like a zip code search like you see with some other websites to help route the local traffic to where it wants to go? You've probably seen this before, and really what we do is Google in the last few years has made sweeping changes to their algorithm to give preference to matching up local businesses with their user searches, so that more often than not they can find what they're looking for. This helps us. We've taken steps to kind of stay ahead of the curve on this. All of our owner sites have been set up to use individual locations so that Google is able to match local searches in the best way possible versus just looking at a centralized corporate site and then trying to route traffic that way. So this plays into the mobile optimization aspect of things. We want to never leave someone's side. Mobile is becoming incredibly popular as far as a browsing tool for people. As you can see here, 50% of all search queries right now seem to come from mobile devices, and that's continuing to rise. So these days, a website must be mobile friendly. It's either by us, people do this by either having a separate mobile site, which is kind of the older way of doing things. It's less preferred to, then realize if a user coming in is on a mobile device and route the traffic that way. Other ways people do it is having a separate CSS, which is called their style, your style sheet, which makes the website look better for devices that are going to be viewing it a certain way. But the way that we handle things at Clean Air is the most modern way, and that's called with responsive design. You may have heard this used as a more trendy term that gets thrown around a lot, but essentially it allows for any way that any device, or whether it's a desktop or a mobile phone or tablet, any way that somebody is viewing your website, it should look consistent, should have a good usability experience, good way to navigate. And as we can see in the slide here, we go through and continuously test our websites to make sure that in the eyes of Google and other search engines, we have good mobile value, good usability there. From a customer perspective, we also want navigation usability to be very easy, very simple, straightforward. We don't want them to have to think a lot about it, because when somebody gets frustrated, as we all know, you leave a website very quickly. So how does this relate to local search? Well, on a desktop, many users are logged into their Google account, and recent searches in their account are indexed. So local matching is important to Google in this way. If I search for Clean Air Lawn Care, I usually am going to see something that's relevant to me. For instance, like Fort Collins, Colorado, locations of clean air, because Google wants you to find things that are most relevant to you. Now on a phone, this extends even more, because for the most part, local data is being indexed and registered to your account more often. You use it for your GPS map locations, and people are almost always logged into their Google account on their phones. I know I personally am. So then a lot of that data, the demographics, like age and interest, is all going to be brought through when people are accessing our website and searching for us. And through our analytics programs and campaigns, we can kind of see that and target that and match it up much better. So now we dive into how this relates to website content and telling your story. This is where Clean Air Lawn Care has capitalized on excellent page content. Right out of the door, we've been writing simple and easy to understand, informative content that describes our pages and our services in a way that differentiates from the other gas and chemical-based lawn care providers throughout the nation. We benefit from the organic trend building, and what we breathe in is important to people nowadays. What we put into the ground and eventually our water supply has become one of the buying decisions that customers have in mind when choosing a service like ours. A campaign we're engaged in now and into 2017 is taking huge efforts into updating what we've already capitalized on and improving it as we go forward in our pages. So let's take a look here. So here's a typical owner site from Clean Air over the last 10 years or so. It describes our differentiators, our services, and overall approach. Customers can quickly inquire for an estimate and get where they need to go. But looking forward, we always want to be more descriptive and staying ahead of what Google expects to see on a web page. So now that we take a look at where we're headed, this is a website that's benefited from some of our more recent updates and passes to being more descriptive with local focus on our owner sites. As you can see that I've highlighted here, we want not just the city of the owner site and the focus there to be important. We want surrounding areas to also be getting indexed, and then when people are searching for it, that value carries over. Those searches are matched up with our website. So taking a look at the back end here of a typical web page, we're pulling back the curtain for just a moment and seeing that we spend a lot of time using tools to help us optimize for certain keywords that we want to stay competitive with. We make sure to use a mixture of what the tool is telling us in relation to search terms and our own experiences to kind of hone in on what's best for the particular market. Continuing with that idea, this shows that we focus the writing style of our pages on the descriptive elements of the site and what we want to compete on most. We're grabbing these high-value search terms here and basically focusing our keywords on this. And in this case, it's organic lawn care. That's the one we want to own, be most competitive in. You can see that all aspects of the page have been greenlit using these these search optimization tools that we use as a good benchmark for how we're doing. So moving on, let's take a more in-depth look at how we optimize our pages and perform them, get them to rank so well. Looking at several pages, we can see that they're all greenlit. The focus keywords and the titles that we're using are all basically rowing in the same direction, using synergy. You don't want to have things labeled differently than your keywords are and what the analysis shows that users are searching for. Okay, so we're going to talk next about PageRank, and basically we've been talking about how your web page is working for you, and how it's optimized to continuously feed traffic and estimates towards the owners. Now we're going to talk about how we can circle back and kind of help the website then continue to grow on its own. A 5-star review on Google helps you build PageRank for your company. Not only does it help you offer more search value in Google, but it adds confidence to your business. Buyers are influenced by the testimonials of friends and family, as we know. But when they don't have this to rely on, they rely heavily on the reviews of their peers, others, customers, people that are using the service. So here we have an example review link that I've created. We want to share this methodology with all of our owners because I think it's really cool. Having a review link that's easy to access helps incentivize users to give you positive feedback. In all things, when it comes to web design, you want to make things very straightforward and easy for people. So let's just take a brief look. So when I click this here, we can see it takes you right to a review link. And somebody's offered the chance to then write a little input with 5 stars. Another great idea that we've had success with is integrating review links directly on the website in addition to signatures as you interface and talk to customers. The website here can feature both Yelp and Google reviews, and you want simple clicks to direct the traffic that way. Here we can see the success this owner is having, directing traffic to Yelp for positive reviews. They have nothing but 5 stars. And so anybody who's looking for feedback on whether or not they should use this lawn service, they should feel pretty confident about it. Now, I'm sometimes asked what to do about bad reviews, and I usually recommend, if that does come up, obviously in the first place, you don't want to recommend or try to get somebody to review you when you know you've had a bad encounter for whatever reason. But we always recommend that a brief response is best. You don't want to kind of end up in some sort of back and forth tirade publicly on the internet. It's important to apologize, try to identify with them and explain what happened, and just kind of offer to fix things and move on. Eventually, if you continue to send traffic here and try to build positive feedback, the 1 or 2 little bad reviews that do show up throughout doing business, and the mistakes may have happened, or just the way somebody interpreted something, that will get buried over time. So just reiterate there, continuously want to be working on getting good reviews because it has a great potential for building page rank for your website. So now we get into social media. It's that thing you either love to hate or hate to love. We create social media accounts like Facebook and so forth so that we can ensure brand consistency. We keep the admin access to help contribute regularly with posts and updates and any kind of information formatting that we want to keep consistent. But we also make sure that that's shared with you, the owner, so that everybody can give that local input on the things that are important to them. This gives you influence over the content being shared so that you can keep it kind of catered to that local value, and any concerns or great news that you want to share on your Facebook channels. So taking a look at the slide here, we have both a post that was done by the corporate office, kind of, and getting people prepared and thinking about things that are coming up as far as seasons go. And then you can see on another site, this is a local owner that has input they want to be hiring. So we allow that flexibility so that you can always post and kind of reflect what's important to your local area, what your needs are of that business. So it's kind of a synergistic approach. And so now I'd like to open things up to questions. I see here that we have somebody interested. So we have somebody asking how often estimates are coming through a local website, how much we can expect as far as that volume. So we typically see that for every one person that fills out a form, there are 2 people that call the local owner directly. We keep tabs on this information through high quality SEO, the optimization we're using, and our analytics to figure out how much traffic is actually coming through the site, how many pages deep somebody makes it, and whether or not they actually inquire to you. Usually about 30 to 100 estimates per month, depending on their local market and the time of year. Well, we have a question here about bounce rate. I haven't looked at that recently, actually. Chris Ann, do you have that metric on hand?
I do not have that on hand. I know in talking with the marketing committee this morning, that is something that we're looking to, always better. But I don't have the actual number. It looks like it depends on the time of year. We also have another employee here on the line. And so our bounce rates are pretty low. It depends on the time of year and traffic source. And so if they're coming from maybe just Facebook, if they come to the site from a Facebook ad and they're not ready to buy, or they accidentally click on it, if it pops up on their phone or something like that, that would be a higher bounce rate. But otherwise, here it says, that from our other employee, that they are pretty low. But we can get those numbers for sure.
And as we see that traffic come in, anytime that there is a bounce rate that is essentially a red flag, that we see that, okay, the visitor flow is just dropping off here for some reason, that's when we know that we need to get in there, do some analysis, figure out if we need to switch to different, focus keyword, or what we've written on that site that just isn't, picking up the traction that we want. Maybe it's a usability sort of thing. Somebody isn't seeing the call to action and moving through the flow to contact the owner well enough, and so that should pretty quickly show us that something isn't working the way we want it to, and we need to address that to always keep those bounce rates very low. Question here. After a user visits the website, will our ads show up on other sites as the potential customer surfs the web? This is referred to as retargeting, and it's a wonderful thing that Google does is, for their own needs, as somebody's logged in, they begin, basically that gets collected, aggregated as far as the information goes, and they know that they've been to our website and others, and so as we are running ads, those ads tend to follow people to the other websites they're going to, as essentially like a little nudge, a little remember to stay top of mind, so that they're always kind of hopefully seeing that those ads reminded of us and routed back to those local pages as often as possible. That is the idea of retargeting ads, is that we know where they've been, we know that they want to eventually come back, and they're interested in what they're seeing. It's just a matter of keeping in front of people and that sort of way of doing things. Question here about after a website goes online, about how long afterwards can somebody expect to see estimates? Usually through organic search, that takes about a 2 to 3 month period typically, and that has to do with Google's spider bots regularly coming through and indexing the web, and the schedule that takes for things to kind of aggregate and get up there. We focus, our primary search terms first on organic lawn care and those sort of things we want to be most competitive with, and so usually between 2 to 3 months from an organic perspective, you start to see that appear. Now, we have ways of boosting that right off the bat, so that we don't always wait on organic traffic to populate through the web. We can run different things like your campaigns and social media and those sorts of other let's call it laterals to basically drive traffic back to the main site as it comes online. Here, someone's asking if you're a local owner and you have an interest in changing your local pages, how much customization is allowed there? Now, we do want to keep things consistent when it comes to the best practices, the standards that Google is looking for when it comes to good descriptive content, and also the writing style. We want it to be simple, because not everybody has the best ability, I guess, to read it. You want to keep it at kind of a grade school level is typically what people say. So we like to control as far as the writing style and what goes on the page, but we want everything that has to do with your local needs to be a part of the web page. And if you see things that we haven't really talked about and focused on, we absolutely want you to communicate that to us. For instance, we have our regular meetings with the owners, do the one-on-ones, and so as you get you find needs or interests or maybe feedback from customers about things that they'd like to know more about on your local site, we absolutely would like you to share that with us so that we can then work that into things. In particular, your treatment programs, every owner has slightly their own way of doing things and the way they offer these services. So if there's something that you want us to write in about the approach that isn't really communicated on a page as well, that's absolutely something we're interested in. So asking here about blogs and videos being edited before they go live. When it comes to an official video, we would definitely want to clean that up and do some professional editing for promotional purposes before we release things on the websites. When it comes to your influence over your local social media, we also don't want things to look overproduced. It's this fine line between overproduced and something that just looks cheesy, crummy, like it was filmed in the wind with a handheld phone there. So we'd certainly want you to be able to know that we're a resource for cleaning things up like that for you. Kind of have a little bit of a vetting process, but ultimately what is shared on your website about your company is part of your marketing campaign also. So we want you to have influence over that. We have some curiosity here about how we can actually tell that changes we make on the websites are beneficial, and without getting extremely verbose into all the different tools that we can use. Essentially, we do a lot of competitive analysis. We can take a look at your search traffic, where it is before we start making adjustments, and as we make adjustments, really start to focus in the keywords, and then we can start to see over time, as that propagates, what kind of influence it has over your search results. So it's asking me, what is the hardest part for the owner when dealing with the website? It's a difficult question for me because I tend to handle a lot of the hands-on for it. We would do our best to make sure that it really isn't meant to be something that's difficult for you when it comes to the launch of it, the server-side updates, the initial, all the content writing that is involved. We want it to be essentially as hands-off as it can be. We want all the we do our analysis and our optimization of the pages and the content on those pages so that people are continuously routing their interest to you automatically. We want them filling out forms, essentially. That's the idea. I think that it's an important step to take, that an owner is able to kind of communicate their local needs and what's going on in the industry and their local market. And I definitely recommend the social media aspect and working with us to write blogs as needed. If there's things you want to have discussed, our team can dig in there on an issue and kind of flesh it out and really write about that for the customers so that they have that peace of mind or just educated about the way something is going. And just one more here about so we're asked about how we are able to take the Facebook ads and kind of know that they're working, that they're targeted, they're finding the right people and getting in front of people. That tends to relate to both interests and really the region. We can enter the zip codes that we want to target for a territory and get a good mix of these formulas that we use that allow us to focus on different interests and descriptors of people. And help them find the service that they're looking for, based on the ads we're putting out. Essentially, the idea is that you don't want the budget to be wasted. So we take a look at, we usually see a huge flood of initial clicks and interactions, and then we can start to see as that tapers off, we get into the realm of diminishing return. We don't want to just waste budget, and so we'll pull back and save some of that towards a future ad that we want to run to focus on things. That's about it for time for us right now. I think we're going to wrap up here. I want to really thank everybody who's in attendance and the great questions you've been sending my way. We hope this has been beneficial to you and you've learned a lot. Feel free to anything that was piqued your interest, send over a message to your support team and reach out if you'd like to hear more about it. But other than that, best of luck everybody and thank you for attending.